grateful. Chapter 7 is a very beautiful chapter. It mainly talks about Krishna's energy. Okay, the second part is the main part. Krishna will talk about his own energy to help us, become great devotees. Now, remember last class I had told you, children, that chapter 1 to 6 is mainly focusing on Karma Yoga. That is doing action without thinking of results. It's all about Karma Yoga. But now from 7 till 12, the 6 chapters from 7 till 12 will mainly teach you about Bhakti Yoga. At the end of chapter 6, Krishna says that there are so many types of yoga. There's Ashtanga Yoga, there's also Karma Yoga, there's Dhyan Yoga. But he says that the highest form is pure love for Krishna is Bhakti Yoga, right? And so what happens is now in chapter 7, he starts talking more about Bhakti Yoga. Right, so let's see what he's talking. In the first, as we can see, in the first 3 verses, Krishna will talk about glory of knowing about Krishna. Then he talks about knowing about his energies. So he goes on talking about his power and his energies. Why does he do that? He talks about his powers as God and his energies, that he is everywhere. He'll explain that. Why? Because when you want to love someone, you need to know nicely about him. So Krishna is going on explaining how great he is and how he is in complete control of everything in the world, so that when we know that, we are able to love him more. We are able to love him completely and surrender ourselves to Krishna when we know that he is the all-powerful person. And so the next part, he talks about surrendering to Krishna. And then he talks about in 7.20 to 25, Krishna will talk about how some people will not accept Krishna, right? They don't accept Krishna. Why? Because they want still some material desires, and so they will be worshipping different demigods. Those who want knowledge will worship Saraswati. Those who want lots of money will worship Krishna in the form of Tirupati or Lakshmi Devi, right? So they will be worshipping all the different demigods. And he talks about some people who don't want to believe Krishna as a person who is all powerful and loving. Instead, they want to think God is an energy, and they will worship God as an energy, as okay, there is a power. There is. They know that it's not, God is not there. They believe that God is just an energy. They can't think of Krishna as a human being, not human being, as a being, as a person who loves all living entities, who exists everywhere and who has so many amazing qualities. And how slowly when you go into bhakti, even if you are an impersonalist, even if you're doing Vedic yagyas to get material benefits, still slowly you will be moving from delusion, and ultimately everybody reaches devotion. That is the last part of chapter 7. So chapter 7 is the first of the 6 chapters of Bhakti Yoga. Right? So in 7.1, Krishna says that take shelter of the Lord, hear attentively. Krishna is saying that listen, don't stop listening. And then as you listen to more and more about Gita, about from the scriptures, you listen to great bhaktas, you listen to nice kirtans, you keep chanting, by itself, you will develop the bhakti. So just listen. So he says, Maya saktah mana partha yogam yunjan mad ashraya asamshayam samagram mam yatha jnasyasi tashrunu. Therefore, listen to me and all your doubts will be cleared. So, and here, children, I want to talk to you. It's only Ritika and Anushka here, and my mom is here with my niece. So here you can see that there are different ways of acquiring knowledge. Okay, mostly what people like to do in the modern world is ascending process. They want to believe only what they will themselves understand through their senses, and the senses are defective. The senses are imperfect. They cannot give us a pure knowledge. And the second part is faith becomes an essential ingredient when you're gaining knowledge through scriptures. You should have faith in the scriptures, and then you should have belief in the descending process, where you have somebody who has gained knowledge through meditation, or who is God himself, who has come in the form of Vyasa and given us scriptures, and we are accepting that with faith. That is the descending process. What is the fault of ascending process? Our senses are defective. We have tendency to cheat and make ourselves believe what we want to believe. So that can never be a perfect knowledge. That is why Krishna says knowledge through hearing from the scriptures are, and with faith is the descending process, right? So ascending process, the knowledge is based on natural laws, limited to matter, and there's a cheating tendency, and it is imperfect. Okay, so we are not saying it is wrong. There should be scientists, they are doing their duties. There should be all those people who believe in the way of going through ascending process. They can do their work. At the same time, they should do the duties to their soul. They should have faith in the scriptures. Soul and super soul are non-material, and it's not possible to know them with our senses. So that is why if you keep saying scientifically prove it, at least not in the near future, we are not having that ability to prove it. That is why ascending process becomes unsuitable for spiritual knowledge. The Lord and his incarnations, they don't have any imperfection. And if you have faith, so many places we show faith. When we go to the dentist or we go for a surgery, we just are there, give ourselves on the bed, and the doctor conducts a surgery. We have faith that okay, what is going to happen is he's going to remove the stone in my bladder or whatever. So you just have to place your faith. You put your children in the school, you have faith. Okay, the school is good, the teachers are good, they will take care of my child. So faith has to be naturally there in many places. So nurturing faith in scriptures, okay, the faith that has been eroded by centuries of abuse and exploitation. For centuries now, people have lost faith in scriptures, and it's become a fashion to put down the scriptures, and that has to be brought back. Only then the descending process of receiving knowledge from a perfect source will come back into this world. And can transmit such knowledge? A materialistic person can never teach the Gita properly, because he doesn't even know what is bhakti or love for God. He doesn't know. He's not a devotee. Only a pure devotee can transfer this beautiful knowledge. And then after this, Krishna is now going to talk about, so what does he first say in the first part of this chapter 7? He's simply talking about the glories of knowing Krishna and why we should know the ascending and descending types of knowledge, and why we should accept the descending path so that we can know Krishna. Then he starts talking about his energy. All right, so he starts saying that, O conqueror of wealth, O Arjuna, please understand that there is no truth in this universe superior to me. Everything rests upon me. Krishna is like, the thread, and all other things are like pearls which are strung on the thread. We can't see the thread. We are only seeing all these material things around us. We can't see that Krishna is there in each and every one of them. So Krishna is explaining that. He's talking about himself. In no other religion you'll find someone saying that I am God, accept me, see me, and speaking about himself. It's only in Gita that you can actually see God himself coming and explaining who is he. The only way to know God is to improve our vision by hearing. And you should be able to see the unseen. You should be able to see Krishna everywhere. Although he's not, you can't really see Krishna. You can't see him, unless you become a very pure devotee. See how he has appeared in front of this I think so. One Muni, Vilva, one Muni is there. In front of him, he appears. So he appears in front of pure devotees. So here it says we should not try to see God, but the way we work should be such that God will come to see us. See, he's praying so devotionally that Krishna has come to listen to him. So in 7.2, Krishna is saying, okay, now I'm going to declare to you the knowledge. This knowledge is phenomenal and it is numinous, which means it's spiritual. If you know this, there is nothing else really left to be known. Then you do everything in this material world as a duty. But you know that this material body will end one day. I will go, I have a spiritual world to go to. I don't want to keep on being in the chains of material world, taking more and more births. But many people, they can't take to Krishna consciousness. Why? Can Anushka and Ritika, can you tell me how many people you know who can even understand that we are not the body? Can you think and tell me, Anushka? How many people in your life are there who actually understand that we are not this body? How many people are ready to accept Krishna as God, and take to true Krishna consciousness, as Bhagavad Gita is saying? Ritika, do you know how many people do you know? Suppose you have 50 friends. Out of 50, how many of them really, understand? Yes, Ritika?
5%.
5 to 6 are there. That's great actually. At least 5 to 6. Out of how many people do you know in this world? Roughly.
Around like maybe 200 to 210.
Yeah.
Like I visit a spiritual place, there many people are devoted to Krishna.
Right. So there are many people devoted, but those who truly understand that this body is, not me, and that I am the soul, and who accept Krishna are, like you said, 5 to 6 out of 200. So see how little, so few people are there who can even understand. What about you, Anushka? Among all your classmates, how many will be really, understanding this? Anybody is there at all, Anushka? Hello, Anushka, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Out of all your classmates, how many children are there who understand that they are not the body and that Krishna is God? How anybody is there in your class?
No, ma'am.
Yeah, exactly. So you are rare chosen person who has felt like coming and understanding, what Krishna is trying to say. Exactly what Krishna himself will say. He says, out of thousands and thousands of men, one. So for Ritika, she was saying out of 205, but here Krishna is saying out of thousands of people, one may endeavor for perfection. And of those who have achieved perfection, even those who achieve perfection, they really cannot understand Krishna completely. He is so difficult and impossible to understand. So here let's look quickly at 8 elements which make up nature: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. In our Indian scriptures, it's clearly said that these 5 things make up the nature. Other than
Yes.
that, there is something subtle. Okay, now if you look at them, they're also in order. The earth, no, you can feel with all your senses. You can see the earth, you can smell it, you can taste it, you can, all the 5 senses. You can water, you can't smell. In the earth, there may be some sounds also. The mud, there are things which make the sounds, the solid part of the earth. Water, you cannot smell. It has no smell as such. Water, pure water. Fire, you cannot taste also. You cannot smell also. Air, you can't even see. You can only feel the air when it is blowing. So it's becoming slowly more and more subtle, these 5 elements. Finally, ether, you can't even feel, but it carries signals. Mind is even more subtle. Intelligence, which controls the mind, is more subtle. And the final is ahankara, or the false ego, the ahankara, that is even more subtle. So these are the 8 elements which comprise the whole nature. Okay? And Krishna says that there is our body, like as I told you in one second chapter also, we have a gross body, we have a subtle body, which is mind, intelligence, and false ego. So Krishna says that earth, water, fire, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego, these 8 things, they constitute Krishna. They are Krishna's material energies. So these are also Krishna's energies only. And then he says, besides these 8 elements, O mighty young Arjuna, there is still another superior energy. So he's talking about soul over here. He says that there is a soul in every living entity, in everything in nature, and that soul is Krishna's higher energy. So he's here, he talks about his own energies. When you're able to see that everything around me are Krishna's energy, that's when you will feel an equal oneness to the whole world. You will be able to see yourself everywhere. So here he says, besides the inferior nature, there is superior energy of mind which is present in all the living entities. Then he says, of all that is material and all that is spiritual in this world, know for certain that I am both origin and dissolution. And he says, O conqueror of wealth, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me, just as I had told you earlier. Only Ritika is there. Anushka has lost connection. Anyway, there are only 2-3 minutes. We will continue from the next verse. After this, this will stop. Okay. In this
Yes.
verse, Ritika, Krishna is saying that I am the. He starts talking about all the different places where he is, so that we find it easy to think of him. When Krishna says, "I am the taste of water," it means we keep drinking water in the day, right? Every time we drink water, we know the taste of water is God. The light of the sun and moon, the syllable Om in the mantras, the sound in ether, and all ability in man. If I'm a good singer, the singing ability is Krishna. If you are a fast learner, your fast learning ability is Krishna. So Krishna, why does Krishna speak all these things? Even the taste of water is me. Can you say, Ritika, why he's saying that?
So that we can be reminded of him again and again.
Perfect. Very good. So that we can remember Krishna in everything we see and do. So Krishna says here that when he talking about his energies, he says, I am the essence of everything. Right? And this, so from this slide, we will take it forward next class. Okay, Ritika. So try to learn up those verses 4.7 to 10, the last verse of chapter 5 and last verse of chapter 6. We'll complete chapter 7 next class. You have any doubts, Ritika?
No, ma'am, everything was clear.
Everything is clear. Very nice, actually. God bless you, Ritika. Hare Krishna, dear.
Hare Krishna, ma'am.
Yeah, see you next Sunday.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye.